we are not apologizing for Daryl exercising his freedom of expression. I regret, again, having communicated directly with many friends in China, that so many people are upset, including millions and millions of our fans.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver defending Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey's now deleted pro-Hong Kong tweet. This is the growing rift with China deepens. China is now taking another aggressive step, putting its partnership with the NBA further in jeopardy. Hi, everybody. This is Bulls and Bears. Thanks for watching. I'm David Asman. Joining me on the panel today, Jonathan Hoenig, Christina Partsinevelos, Carol Roth, and John Burnett. Well, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver now insisting that Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey has the right to show support for anti-government protesters in Hong Kong, even after China's state broadcaster canceled plans to show a pair of preseason games in that country. Susan Lee is standing by in the newsroom with the very latest details. Susan.
So Adam Silver there, you heard him, and he's also backpedaling a bit today, saying that they don't regulate what owners, players, and employees of the NBA say. I guess they're doing this internal calculus right now. Does the NBA need China, or does China need the NBA? You know, the NBA has been broadcasting in China since 1987, going back to the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan, and there's only one NBA in the world, right? Since 600 million people stream the games on Tencent's streaming service, and hundreds of millions, close to a billion, watch it on the state broadcaster, CCTV. So some would say that the NBA actually has a probably more preferential position compared to Disney or Starbucks, because you can go to alternatives. But there's more controversy today because we heard from Steve Kerr, and he was asked about what was happening in China, this controversy. Now, Steve Kerr getting some backlash. Let's bring up the tweet, if we can, with Representative Jim Banks criticizing Steve Kerr, along with a lot of people on social media, because Kerr, who is the coach on the Golden State Warriors, this has lit up social media. He actually didn't even want to go there. And Jim Banks saying, who owes everything to American sports fans, would sooner defend the Chinese Communist Party than visit the White House. So there's been, I would say, a very divisive issue with either you support China or you don't support China, and you get a lot of backlash from U.S. politicians, as you heard yesterday from Marco Rubio, Beto O'Rourke, and even Ted Cruz and the like. When the NBA, it wasn't even a full-throated, by the way, apology. They just said it was regrettable that so many Chinese fans were offended by the GM's tweet. But I think in China, when you're the NBA and you have to decide what your positioning is, it's a different sort of calculus for you. Back to you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Susan. Please stick around with us if you can. It's not just the NBA. Other American companies are bowing to China as well. Video game developer Activision Blizzard removing a gamer because of some pro-Hong Kong comments that gamer made. Vans, the company, pulling its shoe depicting Hong Kong protesters after facing a China boycott. And even Tiffany's removing an ad that offended Chinese customers. So should these companies ignore Chinese attempts at censorship, or is this a very lucrative line they can't afford to cross?
I wish we could say that they should ignore it, but we've been seeing this over the past decade or so, that companies are just bowing down to China. The examples, you brought up some clothing retailers, Gap, Versace because of a T-shirt. You had Apple most recently remove pro-democracy songs by Hong Kong singers from their Chinese app store. So this is an ongoing situation which shows that the color green prevails in front of all. Yeah. Unfortunately, one tweet, you know, deleting a tweet, it may not mean anything for us, but this really sets the precedence for what it means for putting your opinion online, especially if you work for a large organization.
This is a private organization. It is not the NBA's job to change China, to change what is an oppressive policy in China. And yes, when an employee jeopardizes a business relationship, look, whether it's James Gunn or Roseanne or Kathy Griffin, they feel the ramifications. But I tell you, the NBA, I think, is missing an opportunity here. Think back to the 1980s with the Soviet Union. Brands like Nike, brands like Coca-Cola, they've positioned themselves as the freedom brand, as the independence brand, as the American brand. Nike should fill those shoes and tell China, look, this is what we stand for. Take it or leave it.
It's absolutely hypocritical for these U.S. companies to actually support kneeling, right, and risking profits in the U.S. while bowing down to China in their pursuit to actually pursue global growth. This is absolutely hypocritical. They're not even upholding American values. We've seen over the last several decades, right, with the expansion of global trade, that the U.S. has actually used trade as a way to promote democracy, right? You do that through policy, American policy, but you do that through enterprise trying to make inroads into foreign countries while bringing U.S. values. This is not a slam dunk. This is a missed play on behalf of the NBA.
Listen, I mean, they keep saying that this is offending the Chinese consumers, but we have no idea if it offends the Chinese consumers because they all have a gun to their head because they have no free speech. At the end of the day, this isn't offending the Chinese consumers. It's offending the Chinese government, and that is the big issue here. This is a huge opportunity for these companies to take a stand for freedom and democracy and say that that is more important than the almighty dollar. And the reality is, if enough of them do that, it's going to put some pressure on them.
But Susan, can I just ask you a question? Because there was some question about the apology that the NBA made to the Chinese, whether it changed in the Chinese version. There was an English version, which was bad enough, and Silver apparently has turned that around. But the Chinese version was particularly groveling. They used words like inappropriate for what this GM had said.
Right.
What's the story on that?
That's right. So they added a few extra lines to that, to saying it was regrettable, and it sounded more like an apology than the English language statement that the NBA issued. But I just want to get back to how important the Chinese market is and whether or not nationalism does impact U.S. brands. I think Starbucks will tell you that it does. So has Walmart. They've experienced this. Remember, Starbucks used to have a cafe in the Forbidden City, which was the Imperial Palace. Well, that was removed after some controversy with a broadcaster saying, why should we have an American company basically in our representative of where the emperor used to live? And so that was removed, and people actually started boycotting Starbucks as well.
Jonathan,
I want to quickly. I want to ask Susan quickly. I want to ask quickly. I mean, could the Chinese people themselves, could the government see any blowback from the fact that, look, the NBA is extremely popular in China? Could the government itself get any blowback from the fact that these games all of a sudden aren't available anymore?
There are always alternatives. However, as I mentioned to you, there's only one NBA. So in some ways, there's been a very smart strategic decision from the NBA to get in early into this market, right? So it's the most watched pro sports league in the entire country. And it's not just TV. Look at the paraphernalia. Nike does 20% of their sales in the country. We also have players thinking our shoes, our jerseys, they sell a lot of them in China as well. So as I mentioned to you, the NBA is deciding right now, does China need them more or do they need China?
But it also sets a precedence for business, though, guys. I mean, you have to realize that if you are a business that is going to do business in China, this is not going to be the only time that this pops up. This is going to be a continual issue. And so I think it's important for businesses, if they are going to try and be a part of this market, to understand that this is what they're dealing with. They're dealing with censorship, and it's not just going to rear its head once. It's going to be an ongoing problem.
To this as well, Carol, as Joe Tsai, who's the owner of the Brooklyn Nets, brought up astutely, by the way, in one of his Facebook post. He says, look, memories are long. There's a historical context to this. China has gone through 120 years of being invaded by European powers. In fact, Hong Kong was divided up during the Opium Wars. And what about the Japanese invasion during World War II? Now that they have economic, some would say, power, military power, they feel that this is their time to finally stand up for something, and memories are long, and they are very cognizant of foreign powers trying to tell them what to do.
Jonathan, I want to go back to your earlier comments. I'm confused. Are you stating that companies should be taking a stand, but then individuals that work for these companies should not be saying anything?
Well, I think it's a missed opportunity. Christina, back, as I said, in the 1980s, a lot of American companies positioned themselves, aligned themselves with American values, like freedom of speech, especially in contrast to the Soviet Union. So, yeah, it's a business decision, and when employees make tweets that are embarrassing, businesses have to make decisions. But another business decision would be to embrace those values.
But Jonathan,
in that sense, I think the NBA has had a missed opportunity.
On the other hand, do you remember Arm & Hammer? The company was named after a man named Arm & Hammer who used to deal with Lenin and the Soviet Union. And so there have always been examples of capitalists compromising in order to get into certain markets, even if they're anti-capitalist markets.
Yeah, I mean, David, I can't disagree with you here, and I think that this is an opportunity and a real conundrum with the NBA. Do they, in effect, take the money and pursue the business relationship, or do they stand up for the free speech values of one of the members of their team?
Well, even if they're being duplicitous, at least they pulled that original apology, and it seems like Silver is now standing behind his GM. So that's some progress. Let's see what happens to the other companies. Susan, thank you so much